What next in the row of the investigation that was started and then subsequently dropped Toto and Susie Wolf this week? The issue for me is there are a lot of things to consider when you're looking at the fallout from this, and there are indeed some questions that the FIA are going to need to answer. If not in public, then certainly to the affected parties in private, that's for sure. You see, the fact that the FIA looked into the process that's involved with a potential conflict of interest isn't the issue here. That's the point that's getting completely lost. They've got the right to do so. They should do so. The FIA and this department are custodians of the rules. That's what it's there for. It's the process and how they went about it that's been completely at fault here this week. The FIA compliance team, amongst all of their other things, have a whistleblower, 24 hours, 7 days a week hotline to report things. You'd expect that. Most companies nowadays have that. Now, I cannot imagine that this incident is the first thing that's been reported. Yet, when was the last time you heard of any investigation or even a result of an investigation from the FIA compliance team? They are clearly and rightly dealt with in private. This won't be the first case, as I've said. My point is, to make a policy like this work, you have to trust the system. You have to trust it keeps you confidential. You have to trust it protects you. You have to trust it protects your information that you're given. The policy actually says it does. It says that's one of the natures of whistleblowing. However, the FIA have undermined their whole process on the back of their actions this week. What should have happened is very different to what did happen. Now, what should have happened is when someone raises an issue, the initial investigation into if there's a case to answer should always be done confidentially to protect all of the parties involved. And most importantly, to protect any potential evidence. By making it public, you're risking that side of it as well. The FIA should have looked into the claim, checked the relevant policies, spoke to the parties involved, and then, and only then, if it's decided there's a need for a more in-depth investigation based on the evidence of those initial findings, then it would have been the time to potentially, and I say potentially because even then it's not always wise, but then would have been the time to go public by informing all of the parties involved that after their initial findings, there is a suspected breach which they are now investigating more in depth. That would have been the best way of doing it. By going public, the FIA have opened the court of social media scrutiny. They've opened it up to wild accusations. They've subjected the couple to attacks on their integrity and their reputation, potentially damaging that beyond repair as it's now played out in the public domain, full of misinformation and very little factual details, and ultimately no case to answer. The rumours of wrongdoing and speculation will always be there now. The FIA, at least privately to the parties affected, have got to answer a few simple things. Quite simply, who, if anyone, made the initial complaint? What evidence did they provide to prompt to look into it? Because I can't believe for 1 minute you can just ring up and say someone's breaking the rules and launch an investigation. There has to be specifics in there, like what information does it relate to? Where did it take place? All of these things are just, initial fact-finding things that would have had to have been asked. Who decided to make that initial statement into the investigation public? And who briefed the media that it involved complaints from team principals? Because according to the reporters, that certainly did happen before all of the statements we saw from the teams denying this. Was this someone just trying to fan the flames? Was this someone trying to do some damage limitation? Was this someone acting on behalf of someone? All of these questions are out there. What measures are now going to be put into place to ensure there isn't a repeat of this? As it's not only the damage it's done to the individuals and the reputation, but it's damage to the whole policy. What about the genuine whistleblower who, if they see legal action being taken, is now going to think twice about reporting it for fear of a fallout? This incident ultimately did no good at all, and someone at the FIA needs to answer for that, not just for the events of this week, but also to protect the sport going forward. There's a fine line between making sure that you're doing things in an open, a transparent way and avoiding a situation where it seems like it's being dealt with behind closed doors and it's secret and being a cover-up, and doing it in public where you're instantly judged to be guilty without any evidence being provided. It's getting it completely wrong and leaving you wide open to any of the consequences of that failure.